We got to do this. Net negative cursor. Complete, but I do feel like I have a pretty good understanding of text editors with whom also do AI editing. I am very curious also about Zed. I'm curious if Zed has a good enough experience. Before we begin, I think it's important to understand that I am in a unique position. When I code, I prefer to be here, right? This is where I want to be. I want to be here. I want to enjoy that. This is where I want to be in. I want to be in NeoVim. I don't want to be in VS Code. And so so my opinion obviously has been colored by it. Do I use Cursor from time to time? Oh yeah, I do use Cursor. In fact, I used it for a couple hours just recently. NeoVim has AI. I know it has AI. Avante and all that, and it also has Super Maven and all the fun stuff. I just enjoy programming. And so I've done a lot. I've played a lot with AI editors, and I still play a lot with AI editors. And so I just haven't tried it with maybe an integration that I would like more, which is potentially from the command line. So that's one thing I'm missing. So my opinion, please forgive me if I don't talk about command line experience. I will be doing open code here soon, and I'll be going deep on open code. And we're going to try to figure out if it's a good feel. Okay, I got to figure that out. All right, AI-assisted development is all the rage nowadays. I'm skeptical, but I really want to give these tools a fair shot. But then I look at what these tools actually manage to do and am disillusioned. These tools can be worse than useless, making us net negative productive. Okay, that's a pretty big statement. All right, before we dive into it, I'm gonna do a quick poll because that statement's obviously that's a heavy statement. Let's do a new poll. New poll. Let's see. Skill issue. Is this person having a skill issue due to this statement? Because this statement starts off pretty heavy right away. Just immediately like, hey, it's a net negative. I'm disillusioned. Not good. Is this a skill issue? Are we seeing skill issue? Where are you guys at before I go? Easiest vote ever. You think so? They can't even spell skeptical. Oh, well, I mean, come on. Bro wrote this in Vim. He didn't have spell check on, okay? What are you talking about? What are you, a loser? Oh, you have spell check? Cool. Let's pick up one of the best possible examples of AI-generated code changes. An example so good that Cursor Editor uses it to advertise on the front page. Okay. So right now, he seems like... Okay, so is the argument that I'm getting right now that... It's not necessarily Cursor that's the problem. It's that the LLM-generated code's a problem, which I would largely agree. I think LLM-generated code is it's like eating Lucky Charms for breakfast. It's just bad for your health, right? It's just not the W you think it is. It tastes really good. It feels like a shortcut to happiness, but then afterwards, you kind of feel like shit because you ate shit, and now your body's full of shit, and now it sucks life. Sucks life right out of you. Okay, anyways, what Cursor thinks great code looks like. Here's the homepage of Cursor's editor website at the time of writing this. Oh, very colorful. Okay, max string equals this one. Oh, they put a little bit of rust on their front page. I didn't know Cursor was furries. Okay, I see you, Cursor. Tap. Tab's their best feature, by the way. If length is greater than max, error protocol serialization. Okay, this is fine. Mute bytes vec. This thing has size. Read exact bytes. Okay, I mean, this is fine. We can look at the screenshots from the editor using light mode variant for legibility. Oh, okay. I didn't know light mode was for legibility. Okay, cool. All right, the image shows a screenshot of Cursor IDE with pending AI suggestions for a code change. The code is a function written in Rust for reading a length delimited string from some binary protocol. Transcriptions of the code can be changed. Okay, to read strength, we got a little buff immutable implement read, gets a result of string protocol error, does a little bit of a read, network endian. Wow, network endian, that's big endian. By the way, fun side quest. For those that haven't heard my fun story about Endian, when I was in college and I first started hearing the term Endian, I thought Endian was Indian, and I was so dang confused. I'm like, why are there big and little Endians in my code? What does this have to do with anything? I'm a little bit confused, and it was that way for like a good week. And then I read through the book, and I was like, Endian? I was way off. I thought it was just big Indian. Yo, bro, this is big Indian. This is little Indian. It's great Ajax, little Ajax. I didn't know. I was just confused. All right. So here we go. So it does all this stuff. I see what it's doing right here. This all makes sense. Okay. The suggestion is accompanied by a pop-up that says, add validation for maximum string length and sanitization. The transcript suggests the following code. Okay, do a little bit of this. We have a little bit of that. Bytes. Okay, here's one problem. I'm not good enough at Rust to tell you why this is good or bad. Does this make sense? Like, I get that it uses a U16. It grabs the max length because U16, 2 to the power of 16 is 65536. So obviously max length of an unsigned int is 2 to the n minus 1. It does a quick little max length strength check. It reads it in, does all this. It gets out, it reads a 16 from the buffer. I mean, to me, like, I guess I don't understand why this is bad. Right? It does a little collection. It does little like bytes into iterator. Does one of these, allow space. Not too sure about this one. This one's kind of an interesting part. Like, to me, this is probably the thing that's probably the naughty part that they're talking about, is that you're going through the protocol, but you're not reacting to anything that's outside of the range. So its sanitization maybe is bad. Maybe you should be having a sanitization error as opposed to it's okay, everything's fine, right? I'm not quite sure why. This looks perfectly reasonable, but it's deeply flawed. The length validation is completely useless. Oh, yeah, it totally is. Good call. Good call. You know why the length validation is completely useless? You create a U16, and then you read a U16. A U16 can never be bigger than the max size of a U16. I mean, that's some 200 IQ spotting. Okay, hey, good on that guy. He's absolutely correct. The length check is the most redundant piece of code ever in the universe. Absolutely right. The sanitization is dubious. Okay, yeah, so we both called out this thing as being kind of a dubious looking piece of code. But again, is this dubious? I don't know. I see that's the thing is I don't know what the protocol is. So is this dubious? I don't know if it's dubious. Maybe this is perfectly reasonable, but this is actually really good. Also on top of this, whenever I see these kind of things, what I think is that, okay, to be fair, whenever I look at a website and they have something like this, like the AI code editor, the thing they're showing off here is not the code itself, but how the code interacted or how the agent interacted with the code. Very juniorish code. I'm not even sure if it's juniorish, right? I'm not even sure if juniorish is the correct word to say here. We use the term juniorish, but I'm not sure if that's like, when I was a junior, would I write this code? Probably not. Useless length validation. First, let's focus on the part of the code where the AI suggests adding all lines other than the existing read UN16. Okay, here we go. This one right here. This is correct in a sense that the value 65535 is indeed the maximum number for a U16 type, though a human programmer would probably use the equivalent constant U16 max. Okay, that seems much nicer anyways. Instead, we would have made a comment unnecessary. Okay, well, you should never, this comment is stupid anyways. The comment was never necessary to begin with. However, this is the largest value that a U16 can contain. That means the condition, this, can never be true. Better tools like Clippy will point out and warn programmers. Yep, okay, there we go. So let's see. So here the AI has generated code that is useless at best and actually generated compiler warnings due to unreachable code. The useful AI-driven development tool would have pushed back against the suggestion. A useful AI-driven development tool would have pushed back against the suggestion to add a maximum string length validation and would have explained something like, because the string length is read from a U16, the string can already be at most this long. Is it okay as is, or do you want to enforce a lower limit? So this is where I actually disagree with this statement. I think, okay, so right now his problem has nothing to do with cursor, and it has everything to do with AI being generated, right? Because this is not a cursor problem. This is an AI generation problem. Like, I do agree that the code that it generates is largely yucky. I hate all the comments, all that kind of stuff. All of this is bad. But also look at the prompt. The prompt is add header for protocol versioning and handle multiple versions. Okay, wait, hold on. Where's the one? Oh, I thought it had the serialization one. Okay, this doesn't even seem like the right. I thought they had one that was like add. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. There you go. Add validation for maximum string. There it is. And sanitization. There's nothing in there that is incorrect. In fact, can we think about this for a second? It actually did exactly what you told it to do. Add validation for maximum string length. Like it like literally did the exact thing. Like it precisely did it. I'm not saying it's a good answer. I'm just saying it is precise to what it was supposed to do. It's actually the thing that they should be pointing out is that cursor just did a bad prompt here. It's not that the outcome was bad. The outcome was perfect. You gave it no sanitization rules, so it's just like it's ASCII and it's in white space. Right? Like, okay, that's good. Good answer. In fact, it's not even that. Actually, this is fairly dubious in the sense that it should have had if b is greater than 32 and less than wherever lowercase z is at. I forget where lowercase z is at. Probably should have, like 128. Really, they should have probably gone somewhere right in that region. But again, bad prompting. You never really even gave what is the sanitization rules. Also, probably easier just for you to write your own sanitization rules. These are one of those things where it's just like, I don't think it's really great. All right, questionable is sanitization. Let's do this. Let us continue with the sanitization code. Irrelevant excerpt. Blah, blah, blah. The code mostly does, by the way, for those that don't know, 32, I believe, 31 is the record-breaking character, right? ASCII table. Starting at 32 is where things start to change. Here we go. So if you look at 32, now we're getting into space. Everything before that, like there you go. You have record space. You have I forget all these meanings here, but these are all the ones that you don't want to use, except for there's like something in here that you do want to use, 8 or something. Backspace or tab. There you go. Tab is 9, right? There's like a couple useful characters in here, but like you're never going to use a sin or a knack or a Canada. Right? Who's using Canada? Nobody even likes Canada. Nobody even likes the 51st state these days, okay? You guys are a bunch of babies. The code mostly does what it says. The numbers do correspond to the characters listed in the comments. There is a small concern that the code operates on bytes rather than on characters. But since UTF-8 is ASCII superset, this is close enough. True. True. My main concern that is not very good code. I mean, it's not very bad code. Is this bad code? Like, if these were the rules, is this bad code? Like, I mean, truly, am I wrong here? If your rules were greater than or equal to 32, equivalent to 9 or 10 or 13, is this bad? Is this bad code? No, I don't think so at all. I think this is probably, it's not great, it's not terrible. How else would you do it? It's an extra allocation. True. You're doing it. You are allocating a new vector onto the heap. All right. It's not clear that this code is correct given the yes, exactly. First, let's talk about style. First, I've added code involves unnecessary allocations. It could be trivially modified to an in-place operation using vec retain. Bytes retain this. Allows space tab new line character turn. Oh, I didn't even know about retain. Cool. I'm also not a Rust, I'm not a Rust expert. Again, I also think that the person that generated this right here is also probably not a Rust expert. And so it's probably fine, right? This is probably one of those moments where it's just like, we showed you that it generated code. Also, I would assume that Rust has a poor ability with a lot of LLMs because the language changes. Like, a lot of new interfaces are added fairly quick, and LLMs are often a year and a half, 2 years behind. So as new things come in, they're probably not up to date. They're probably up to date from a while back, not today. Second, the comment would be unnecessary if if the predicate used character literals instead of decimal numbers, /n instead of 10. Yes, good readability. By the way, good readability. This one I actually find to be less readable, but the rest, this makes sense, right? If you are a tab, a new line, or a carriage return, you're good to go. This probably feels a little bit more confusing. Like, what does greater than or equal to a space even mean? Starting at the ASCII table space. But I mean, now we're just arguing semantics, so it's like whatever. But I do agree, this looks nicer. Arguably, the code should not use such literals at all and should instead use functions provided by the Rust standard library. ASCII control character, ASCII whitespace. Oh, yeah, that's very nice. There you go. That's beautiful. But this brings us closer to the second concern, that it's not clear that this sanitization is correct. Yeah, it's because you have all the ASCII ranges above 128. What exactly is a whitespace character? For example, the AI suggested code allows carriage returns, but some non-Windows programs consider this to be a regular control character. The above U8 is ASCII whitespace function treats /f form feed as a whitespace character. Other programs include /v vertical tab as whitespace. What about delete? This is clearly a control character by all reasonable definitions, but is positioned at the very end of the ASCII range. Should it not be excluded as well? True. What about non-ASCII whitespace and control characters? The bytes are decoded as UTF-8 immediately afterwards, and there are various Unicode-specific control characters like paragraph separators, interlinear annotations, and skibidi isolates. Skibidi isolates? What's a skibidi isolate? Skibidi isolate? I don't know. Is that like a skijipity isolate? Arguably, the Unicode FEFE0 with no break space byte order mark is a control character in a leading position. Bidirectional? Nah, it's skibbity. Everybody knows that. Okay, it doesn't mean this. So there's two things here. One, this person is absolutely correct in all the things he is saying. I am on team. This is correct. Luca is killing it. Okay. Also, my only counterpoint is that we never defined what the sanitization was to begin with. And if you're doing protocol sanitization, you also have to know what you are doing. So if someone were to hand this in as the protocol sanitization, I would have to assume that this person is correct if this is our requirements. You would want to double check what it is, right? Like it's not up to me to say that this is correct or not. Yeah, a human needs to know. There's no getting out of it. Even this seems confusing because he said you should be using ASCII whitespace, but then right afterwards he's like, this form feed character is considered whitespace. Does that mean that using whitespace up there allows form feed characters? What happened if you didn't want to use form feed characters? There's a lot of questions going on here that should probably be answered that you, the protocol implementer, should probably understand. There's a lot of questions whether the sanitization is appropriate in a low-level function that reads data from a network stream. Many applications can be agnostic about such details unless the string is used in a specific context, e.g. HTTP header or terminal output. There's also generally no security impact. Preemptive stripping control characters has the same vibe as trying to thwart a squeal injection by removing all quotes from strings. Yeah, I mean, if I were doing that's why I originally said that I felt like this should be an error. Like if it contained one of these characters, it should be like a protocol error, invalid character. That seems more reasonable, at least to me, that if you are expecting not to have those characters, you probably shouldn't just strip them out. Feels weird. This might be correct, but it can also break applications. Here, consequence would be that read string and write string functions no longer mirror each other, which would cause a good test suite to fail. A useful AI-driven development tool wouldn't just pick one solution, but explain the problem space and let the programmer make an informed choice. I think you're asking too much from AI. The problem about AI is that this is not the goal. If you were to use Cursor's ask suggestion and said, hey, I need to add sanitization, what are the techniques I should use and why should I do them? And then afterwards be like, are these the best ones? Like that's how you have to use AI. You have to treat it like it's a really stupid solving problem. It's a stateless solving solution. So after it comes up with a solution, you still have to ask it, is this solution correct? Because often it'll be like, no, dog, I just made that up. That's not right at all. My bad. Totally my bad. I thought that function existed. It's just a stateless, dumb solution that does not reason or think. And people keep thinking that they think and reason. They don't reason. They don't think. Stop it. Reasoning is literally being like, give me a set of ideas. Okay, go back in. Let's feed what you said over and over again. This is what's happening here. All right, programming is about decisions. At this point of the article, we're about 800 words into exegesis of an 8-line diff. There's a lot of hidden complexity even in this simple example. The AI has suggested a solution, but the added code is arguably useless or wrong. There is a huge decision space to consider, but the AI tool has to pick one set of decisions without any rationale for this decision. Also, so this actually comes down to the one thing that I feel like is very obvious about why LLMs are terrible at coding. They solve the immediate problem, and that's what makes them bad at coding. And what I mean by that is that when we reviewed code that we let vibe code for a while, that we let Devin vibe code for a while, I don't know if it uses Claude 3.5 or OpenAI as the backend. It doesn't really matter which one they use. They all do the exact same thing. It inlined a whole bunch of vector operations throughout the code, meaning there was no vector add, there was no vector multiply. It just made up a vector and then did all the distance calculations, all the squirting, all the math operations on top of it, inline every single place. And every time I use AI, I see the exact same thing. It will do something that is like semi-complicated in a singular space, and will do it over and over and over and over and over again. Something I just recently did is that I'm doing a little bit of a game that I'm making offline. You haven't seen it yet. But I select the current player based on the data that comes from the server, and every place that it selects the current player, it redoes the calculation. It redoes this mod 2. It redoes this like modulo math along with this array indexing and does all this extra stuff to get out the current player, and it never saves it anywhere. Instead, it inlines it over and over again, because as each new prompt came in, it said, oh, I could do that one extra next thing, and then it redoes it again and goes into the next one. Oh, okay, I can redo the next thing. I can do it again, right? It'll just keep on doing the exact same set of things. No problem. It's the tokenization different between LLMs. I'm not talking about the tokenization. I'm talking about the output. They all do the exact same thing, is that as you solve things iteratively, it will repeat complicated code that should be behind a function. It just can't make that decision. It doesn't make that decision. It won't ever make that decision because that's not what it's capable of. That is not how you would use an AI. Great programmers can look at suggested changes, notice the problems, and work backwards. For example, they see the useless string length validation and decide to pick a lower limit instead, or to skip the AI suggestion. However, that generally takes more effort than just writing the code yourself, and many programmers might not notice the problem until perhaps much later. Truing. Programming is about lots of decisions, large and small, architecture decisions, data validation decisions, button color decisions. Some decisions are inconsequential and can safely outsourced. There is indeed a ton of boilerplate involved in software development, and writing boilerplate heavy code involves nearly zero decisions. But other decisions do matter. For this kind of work, it doesn't matter how fast the code can be written or generated. It matters what we arrive at good enough decisions efficiently. AI-powered tools can help here if they can independently resolve less important decisions correctly most of the time. And as a corollary, if they can flag decisions that need additional review, if they can provide the necessary context to make good decisions. How far away do you think we are from this? He's asking for an AI to be responsible. Do you know what I mean? In the sense that when you're at your job, you feel a responsibility to others and to your future self to write code in which you wish to maintain. I'm not sure if AI can ever feel responsible. Maybe that's just not it, because AIs effectively can write code at infinite speed comparatively, so maybe they'll never need to feel responsible because the future glory AI masturbation days are when all code is just replaceable. Code is no longer a moat of any kind. It just simply can take in, take out, and replace everything. And so there is something about it that's like, I myself wouldn't do certain things because I feel a responsibility to my coworkers and to my future self. But that just doesn't exist when it comes to matrix multiplication. But as of May 2025, that's not what's happening. In this example, the AI has taken suboptimal decisions that have not, and has not given us the context to make better decisions. But I think that's good, right? Isn't that the whole point? Like, I'm on this guy's team. Like me and Lucas or Luca, I can't tell if it's Lukas Atkinson or if it's Lukas Atkinson. So I'm going to assume it's Lucas. Anyways, Lucas, like, I think we're on the exact same team that we both agree that AI just, whenever you generate code, there's a lot of fixings that come with it if you really want the code to be nice. But I feel like the person that has to make the decisions is you. This is just whenever I use an agent, how I think of an agent is just a really, really fast autocomplete. It doesn't mean that the autocomplete's good. It just means it auto-completed for me. And there you go. Now I have to fix the autocomplete. And by the way, I'm not a very big AI guy. Right, you should know by now. I'm not a huge AI guy. Right, and this is non-cherry-picked example by me. This is the first thing Cursor shows potential customers to demonstrate how good AI-powered tooling allegedly is. Yes, and I would argue this is really good. They are showing exactly why it's good. You made an in-editor suggestion in line. So for those that don't know what he's doing, here, let's go like this. Cursor, cursor, boom. Whenever you do these things, make sure I'm not accidentally gonna do anything that's gonna screw me. Let's go to this guy. All right, get out of here. What is it? I. There you go. Hit it. If I go in here, I can do something that's like, I can highlight this, hit it with a Control K, and then be like, can you rewrite this in modern Go? I don't even know what that means, to tell you the truth. Okay, no, it's already modern. Can you write this iteratively instead of using slices.contain? I mean, that's kind of nice, right? That's just, I love, like, Control K is a pretty cool little thing right here. Like, that's a pretty fun little item that they have right there. And so that's super neat. And so that's what it's showing right here, is that you can literally go into code, highlight a specific section, and get it to just run, right? That's a cool tool. I'm not saying it's a correct tool. It's a cool tool. Two very different things. Let's see. This is not a cherry-picked example. This is the first thing Cursor shows potential customers when demonstrating how good AI-powered tool allegedly is. This example is presumably cherry-picked by the Cursor marketing team to advertise the best of what is possible. I feel like it did a good job. If an AI-powered tool saddles you with useless code, breaks the code by making incorrect decisions, and makes changes so subtly incorrect that 8 lines of diff need 800 words of review and discussion, then the tool isn't making anyone extraordinarily productive. Then this tool is a net negative for productivity. So this is generally why I don't use a lot of AI. I use it for generating a lot of things that I don't ever want to look at and I don't care. My front end to stuff, I generate. I just like, hey, generate. I don't care if it looks like the most mid website ever. I'm not even trying to. I don't care. I will just vibe code it and try to fix the bugs that I need to fix because I just don't want to look at it. I don't want to do CSS. I have nothing I want to do with it. That's that. And so when I look at this, that's how I kind of feel about it, which is that what he is saying, I think, is both correct and incorrect. If every time you generate code and it's about code you care about and you have to sit and rework it all and make it work right, you should probably just gain the mastery of just writing it once yourself. There's no reason for you to keep generating and then completely rewriting. If that just helps you think about how you should rewrite it, is that bad? Maybe it's not bad at all. Maybe that's just a good way. Because I like to think with my hands. Some people like to take code and they like to go to a whiteboard and draw out all the boxes and arrows. And they always are like, I don't understand people who code all day. You should be thinking 80% of the time. I'm like, bitch, I never think, okay? That's not how I do it. I think with my hands. I go in there and I write stuff up. I write. And I go, ooh, I like this. Okay, I don't like this. Wow, I never even thought about that. I would have never understood that thing. Okay, I do like this. Okay, yeah, I love that part. Oh man, this makes me feel really happy. Okay, boom, I like what I did. Delete everything, rewrite it. Boom, this is my new favorite thing. This is who I am. This is now my identity is what I just wrote, and it's beautiful and it's fantastic. The end, right? Like that's how I think. And so not everybody thinks that way. Some people like to just sit down and, I don't know, write on paper or something like that. I don't know. That seems crazy to me. But again, it's called designing. I understand that it is not your identity, but I design with my hands. I don't design by writing on a paper. I go and I discover all the edge cases because I can't know all the edge cases. I don't know the edge cases until I actually build the effing thing. Because that's the problem, is most of the stuff you build, you don't know all the problems. And the moment you do and you discover it, it turns out it can invalidate everything that you thought before that. Or maybe it invalidates half of it. True of any creation, exactly. Feedback loop is essential. You get it, Jeremy. And so that's why, is it bad that some people use generated code to, come up with a solution? No. I'd say the only people that are truly bad are people that just vibe code, and that's that. They're going to be introducing massive security problems, massive bugs. They're going to get themselves straddled to the goodness of an LLM. That's really the only real danger. Is that you release something that you purely vibe coded, not realizing how much awfulness that you're about to have in your life. And I really am mostly concerned about security. I put this out on the Twitters. I think I kept a photo of it. Hold on. I thought I kept a photo of it. Here, let's go like this. I'm pretty sure I kept a photo of it because it's funny. Yes, I did. XDG open. Can I use XDG open? I'm not sure if I can. I don't need a passkey. Okay, I guess I need a passkey to open this. Is the session data secure? Meaning, if I knew someone's username and ID, could I spoof it by adding it to my session? In other words, can we sign the data / create some sort of JWT to prevent user spoofing? That's a very good security concern. Currently, the session data is not cryptographically secure against tampering. Let's improve this. I built a website with Cursor, and it just literally created a login where I could edit the cookies. I could edit my session and just put in any Twitch username, and it'd be like, you're that guy now. That's who you are. You're that person. That's terrifying. You realize how many people that go and vibe code probably has that? Good catch. I have to suggest, hey, dog, maybe we should sign the data. If you don't even know what signing the data is, you are going to get destroyed. I only know that because I wrote JWT before JWTs existed, and I had to write my own login. I rolled my own login, rolled my own password hashing, and all that stuff. This is actually terrifying for our future. It is terrifying for our future. So you have to know these things. Thanks for... sorry, you're right. A hospital is not a lawful military target. That's very funny. It's also very, very true. Also made my own token system with SHA-256. Yeah, exactly, SHA-256. That's the one I used because MD5 was considered bad, so I didn't use MD5. So I used SHA-256. Bada bing, bada boom. It was actually really simple. When I originally did it way back in the day, I would generate your JSON object, that is your user object. I would then base64 encode this. And then what I would do is, in the beginning, I would attach a SHA-256 encoded or SHA-256 hash of what this was, and then I'd send this down as a session to the user because I was like, okay, well, at least I know I generated this. So even if you manipulate this in any sort of way, then I know that you did something and it's not mine. Like, that's all I knew. This was me rolling my own auth in 2009. MD5 can be manipulated. That's why I didn't do MD5s. I did SHA-256. Hey, the name is, by the way, I actually really liked this article. I think he like literally points out every reason why it's dangerous to solely rely on LLMs for code. This was a great article. The only problem is the framing, right? The framing was that Cursor is the net negative. Cursor is actually a pretty radical set of integration with these tools. It's Claude. It's OpenAI. That's really the problem here, right? Like, I'm on your team. Lukas, you made fantastic points. I loved it. The name is the Primogen. Okay, so, but I feel super weird right now because everybody looks at me on the internet as the anti-AI guy. And yet, here I am defending. I feel like, what is this? Am I the anti-AI guy or am I the AI guy? Right? I'm not the AI bro. Okay, I'm not the AI bro. You know that. You know that to be true. Dude, it's sold out. Dude, I feel so weird because I'm like, okay, like, I don't like AI either, but I feel like your previous one, I feel like some of these suggestions are incorrect. AI bro, dude, am I an AI bro? AI bloomer? Oh my gosh, I'm an AI bloomer. Dude, I love this idea of calling them bloomers. Not gonna happen. Boo. I know, how did this happen? What happened? I'm just a guy. Is having a nuanced opinion that's not the same thing over and over again, does that just simply make you hated by everybody? Because everybody that's like super pro AI constantly says mean things to me on the Twitters, and everyone that's anti AI constantly calls me an AI boy. So I'm just like, I don't even know. Like, how did I lose everybody? How did I lose? Again.